Deck building in Absolver is a daunting task. With moves flowing into one sequence and out the other, it can get complicated very quickly, and with the available information being either heavily outdated, highly misinformed, or provided by people who don't really know what they're talking about, there are a lot of misconceptions about the topic that have sprung up. Things like, "Oh, you can only be competitive with a meta deck," or "I can't use the moves I like and make a good deck, so I'm just gonna make my deck crap." With this video, I hope to show you that the truth lies somewhere in between. That deck building is a fun and rewarding puzzle with many answers, and that you don't need to be meta to be competitively viable. Together, we'll go through the steps of making a deck, starting with the foundation, then filling it in, and finally, optimization. The foundation of your deck is made up of 8 moves, 4 sequence starters, and 4 alternatives. These are known as your pairings, and they're what you're going to be building off of, so make sure you get these down first and foremost before filling anything in. To start, let's pick 4 moves we really enjoy. Set these as your sequence starters. If you have moves that accomplish very similar things, it is worth picking one and using the other in a string later. Try to exchange some for slow horizontals. Now for your alternatives, use moves that are the opposite to your starters. Slow goes with fast, horizontals go with thrust or less optimally verticals, highs and lows go with the opposite or mid thrusts, and lefts go with rights. Here are my examples. Note, if you're playing Cult, you will need a side strafing move. If you're Stagger, make sure your fast option is a 12 frame so you can get the best damage off of your side and front stagger confirms. We make our pairings like this so we can easily avoid bottlenecks, a point in your deck where, regardless of what you choose, your opponent can dodge, parry, or absorb the pairing with the same input. This is a bottleneck. Regardless of what you choose, your opponent can use the same input to counter it. Here is a table of all the mix-ups needed to avoid bottlenecks for each class. You can study this and look over it, but just know that we use opposites so that we can simply and easily avoid the issue of bottlenecks. Against Feint and Stagger, horizontals and verticals are treated the same, so make sure the timing difference is sufficient. 5 frames for Feint, 7 frames for Stagger to avoid this issue. We need to talk about something absolutely crucial to deck building. After every move you perform, there is a gap between your previous action and the next. We can find this gap by doing the startup of the next move minus the advantage on guard of the previous move. This will give you our gap. You need to make sure your gap is 1 frame smaller than the move you're trying to make it safe against. Your goal is always 12 frame safety, so a gap of at least 11 is sufficient. Otherwise, this will happen. Every single time you get to that part of your sequence. Hover over a move. You can see what alternative you can use and also what comes next in the sequence. As long as one of these moves are made 12 frames safe by the one you have highlighted, you are good to go. Feel free to experiment and try different things with your unsafe option. Just make sure that one of your options is safe and that the resultant pairing isn't a bottleneck. Now, we gotta talk about
yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
If the previous move provides a good amount of advantage on guard, say +5 or +6, you can, and should, use it to make heavier moves safe, like Cleaver curled into Sidekick. Guard break moves have tons, so you can even do things like front kick into spinning high kick. Advantage on hit can also be used to make things safe. If a fast alternative is +7 on hit, you can lead it into a move of up to 18 frames like this. On particularly slow moves like this one, you'll often have a very high advantage on hit. If the advantage on hit of a move exceeds the startup of your next move, you can confirm a fast move on hit of the slow one. If the advantage on hit or guard of a move makes the gap equal to 1, your opponent will not be able to use their style ability, as it is too slow to fit the gap. We call this a frame trap, and it's good for making your opponent think they can dodge when they really can't. Stop looking at empty slots as holes in your deck that need to be filled, and look at them as a transition into the next sequence. Before filling in a slot, ask yourself if what you want to put there is better than the sequence it naturally flows into, or if it does something different that you want. I could do this, face back fist, guts, back fist, but without the back fist, the string naturally flows into cleaver blow, which does the same thing but better. So I'm going to leave this slot open. If you feint a move and punish an opponent for falling for it, this is called a feint punish. You can usually get a free fast attack, but a good feint punish is one that gives you a guaranteed slow or medium move. This is called a true feint punish. There are also buffer punishes. In this case, if your opponent falls for the feint, they can usually block, and often even use their defensive again. However, if they attack, they will get hit. These are good for building up stamina pressure and punishing hasty opponents. Sometimes, your feint punish may not work against a certain class or two. Just make sure you can feint into a fast move. If you want to know if something in your deck is a true punish or a buffer punish, test it with an experienced player and find out what they can do if they fall for your feint. Breaking guard is a lot more consequential than you think. You can actually get a fast and slow move for free off of any break. The nice thing about guard breaks is that something that is plus 11 on hit will actually confirm a 12 frame consistently, if it's during a guard break. So wobble low, face back fist will hard confirm Bakura, despite face back fist only having plus 11 on hit and not plus 12. You can sometimes use 20 frame moves as your slow move. Depending on the 20 frame in question and the move you break with, usually, you may or may not get it. In this example, the combo works on face back fist, but not on pushed back kick. There is also the pattern medium slow fast. If your slow move is 17 frames, you can usually incorporate a 14 to 15 frame move with it on guard break. When there is a hard, there is also a soft. Soft confirms happen when your slow move is plus 10 into a 12 frame. Soft confirms can be dodged, parried, or absorbed, but never blocked. Once you think you're finished your deck, make sure that after every heavy option you can go into either a fast slow fast or a medium slow fast guard break combo. Here's the deck that I'm using right now for reference. Remember, this is not a final product. I'm constantly changing and improving on it until it fits my liking. Speaking of constantly changing and improving decks, we've got the man who taught me when I started out for one final lesson.
Greetings, I'm Sir Arthur, and this time I'm going to show you the 4-question method. The method is an aiding tool which helps you quickly figure out how to use the moves in your deck. That can be achieved by examining each move individually and answering 4 questions. The first question is, what do I do on block? If they block my attack, which button can I press next safely? Fast or slow? The second question is, what do I do on hit? If my move connects, what kind of follow-up do I have? The third question is, what do I do on feint? If I'm going to feint the move, what would be my feint punish, and would it be a true punish or a buffer punish? And finally, the fourth question, what do I do on guard break? If my move breaks their guard, what is my guard break combo? We generally only ask this question on moves that can consistently break guard, usually heavy moves. Here are the questions you want to ask when examining a move. Once we go through each move in the deck using the method, we then learn how to use every move by knowing what the follow-up options are. It can also be used to foolproof a deck and see if it's built correctly. If we have a good answer to every question on every move, the deck is well built. At last, I would like to say that deck building can be fun and difficult and sometimes frustrating. But just like any puzzle, when you solve it and all the pieces fall into their place, it can feel like art. And that's one of the beauties of deck building. She told me of her troubles, looking to ease her mind. She was like all the others, looking to unwind.